Hello, everyone. This is Steve Rack. Just wanted to say hello and very excited to talk about the Revitalizing skincare line that we just launched. And so we're going to do this a little bit as a training with questions and answers. And to ask some of the questions, we have Jude on tap for that. So first of all, I'm super excited to get this line out there. Many of you know my background in skincare, and I love making good skincare. And this, to me, is one of the best collections I've ever made, and we'll jump into some of those reasons. But Jude, go ahead, fire off your first question and we'll
All
jump
right.
over
Well,
that.
actually, my first question, Steve, was, we've been talking about it a bit, and what are you most excited about? Like, why is this line in particular so exciting for you?
Oh, great question. Great question. So listen, when I left my last company, I actually made this skincare line for my family because I wanted a really safe line of products I have 3 girls and a wife. So I wanted a really safe lineup and I wanted it to be accessible. So sat down and really focused on this. And if you can see the tinting of the color in that product, it's a little bit of a pink tint, and we'll jump into this, I guess, when we get into some of the ingredients. But I've always wanted to use an ingredient called astaxanthin. And astaxanthin is a red microalgae. It's 6,000 times stronger than vitamin C as an antioxidant. And a lot of the companies I was at before, they didn't like the fact that it turned the cream a little bit of a pinkish color. So I could never get a company to use it. So I wanted to make a skincare line that way. I made this for my family. And then when Vitalibis became an idea, I dropped full spectrum CBD oil in it, and here we are. So that's
Fantastic.
the exciting part. This is something that I wanted for myself. And so I did that, and now I'm sharing it with the world.
Well, and we're reaping the benefits now. Awesome. Thanks.
Awesome.
So how long were you sitting on this formula? How long did it take to develop? And talk through a little bit about the development process for creating these great products.
Sure. What I did is, because I've been in skincare a long time, I really wanted something that was just really high-end, hydrating, and antioxidant focused. So I actually had created the majority of the base. Well, you basically create a base formula, and then you add certain things to it. I knew what my actives wanted to be, and then I took it to a friend of mine who is a Whole Foods green chemist, and he has his own practice. And I said, hey, this is kind of what I'm looking for in a wash, an eye cream, and a face cream. What do you think? And he said, I'll give you the best of the best of the best. And that's kind of how it started. So banned, a whole bunch of ingredients like we talk about in other companies. So 1,500 ingredients were not used in this process. But took it to a chemist. He knew me, I knew each other, we walked through it. It took about 7 different iterations. So each iteration could take up to 2 weeks. But first we do is we create what's called a paper formula. And then we study those ingredients to make sure that all those ingredients are okay for what we're looking for. And then he blends it up and we start to test it. And sometimes it's too sticky, or it doesn't have a right dry down, or it's too oily, or it's a little bit too harsh, or so forth. So you kind of go through those iterations. It took about 7 iterations, if I can remember right. But I had this formula done, I would say, in 2017, right when Vitalibis started to become a kind of an idea for my family. So I started then to drop it in, the CBD oil into it, and then I realized I really, really liked it at that point. So I would say, on a whole, I would say maybe it took a year to a year and a half of just kind of playing around with things over time. And then we've been sitting on this specific formula for about a year and maybe a year and a couple months.
Awesome. So when you're looking at selecting those key ingredients, Steve, what are you looking for? Where do you source? And most importantly, are you going through the process of third-party testing to make sure that everything is what you think it is?
Yes, of course. So great question again. So when I look at it as like astaxanthin, perfect example, red algae, you can buy the astaxanthin in the synthetic form, or you can buy it in the natural form. The natural form is going to have that red tint to it, or that. So think about astaxanthin as when you look and you compare a wild salmon next to a farm's raised salmon. The dark red, that's astaxanthin. So it's the red algae that a lot of fish and wildlife eat that give them the pink color, but it's highly, highly antioxidant based. And so that's a perfect example. I wanted that. I knew that I'm not going to give you all my sources, but I knew that the specific company had the best astaxanthin in the world. And so I contacted them. We got samples and we incorporated that into the ingredients. We did have a little bit of an issue. So when we said we had this formula for a while, the first ingredients came in. We were going to launch this last spring, actually. And when the formula came in, the ingredients came in, we did some additional testing at our manufacturer, and one of those ingredients came with, it was called preloaded with parabens. So they used it in the actual ingredient to load it, to preserve the ingredient, which then would come into your product. So when companies say that we don't use parabens, they have to test to make sure that the ingredients don't include parabens, so that the final formula doesn't include parabens. We did have parabens in one of the actual ingredients, so therefore we scrapped that ingredient, found a different source, and that's one of the reasons why we had a delay in this launch, is because we do check those ingredients ahead of time, and then we also check them afterwards to make sure that the final product meets satisfaction as well.
That's awesome. And coming from someone like me who is very cautious as a cancer survivor, I really appreciate that you're taking that extra step a lot.
Yeah.
What do you say, or as an ambassador, what can we say to people? Because I already have people asking, well, what does a CBD in it potentially do? Why would we even have CBD in a face wash or lotion?
Yeah, so there's, again, CBD is all over the map these days, right? So the skincare of CBD, think of it as it's another plant extract, just like you have, the other plant extracts that are in the world and in skincare. This whole formula is full of beautiful plant extracts, etc. So the CBD oil actually brings with it some of the soothing sensations, but also CBD is really high in fatty acids and omegas and different, those types of hydration type of ingredients. But the soothing side is where you see some of the actual studies. My hesitation on making a really strong CBD face oil, face cream and face lotion and so forth, was that I still think it sits on the skin, the top of the skin. So having way too much of that in the product could actually not be very high performance. So we tested these different products with higher levels of CBD and lower levels of CBD. We kind of hit where we are today because it actually provided a really good sensation for the face, whereas a really high level of CBD in the product actually made it a little bit more oily, right? And it also brought out more of a cannabis smell, which didn't test very well with people. So I believe that a lot of the CBD in skincare products is either just sitting on the skin, unless it's like our soothing body cream, which has those penetrating oils that actually bring it into the dermis of the skin. But I think a lot of CBD should be at a lower level on the face, because it's not truly absorbed like it is internally through sublingual, but it actually does provide some really great antioxidant and soothing and those omegas as well to your skin.
That's awesome. So is that good for somebody who might have some skin conditions like eczema or anything like that? How would it relate to that? Do you have any idea?
I don't really comment on some of the medical side of things typically as a brand, but I think with folks, this is one of the highest. So another thing, there's a lot of companies will put one or two complexes, anti-aging complexes in their products, and they'll make it really good. These products, the face wash has two complexes in it, which you usually have less complexes in a face wash because you wash it off, right? So that one has two cosmetic level complexes in it. The eye cream has 6 cosmetic complexes in it, and the face cream has 5. And so when I say that, you look at the back of the label and you look at what's in this ingredients, and people say, wow, there's so many ingredients. Well, I put a ton of stuff in there that was all beneficial to the skin. So when you talk about, is it hydrating for someone who has a skin problem? Probably. Is it going to clog your pores? No, the ingredients that we selected should not cause any kind of pore clogging. We don't have any of the PEGs. We don't have any of the ingredients that have more of the petroleum-based type of ingredients and different ingredients that are out there in the market. So when you look at this, it's chock full of a tremendous amount of ingredients. So will it be hydrating for someone who has dry skin? Absolutely. Will it help people that are in the sun because of all the UVA, UVB rays? Yeah, but it's not an SPF product. But because of the high level of astaxanthin and the high level of antioxidants, it'll help all skin conditions. I guess that's a good answer.
Fabulous. That's great. So I have had this question as well, as far as just selecting, you just have a revitalizing face cream, and we're talking about aging gracefully, which I'm very concerned about. So why did you decide to just go with one cream instead of a day and night? Is this, adequate for both is the question.
Yeah, so it does not have any SPF in it. So my feeling on SPF face products is it really depends on the SPF active ingredient that's being used. And then the other thing is that the FDA oversees all SPF, OTC type of products, and SPF products are considered a drug, right? So that was one of the reasons why I don't want to mess with the FDA on the CBD side yet. But more importantly, I just wanted this to be a really nice cream that you could use any time of the day. And if you have SPF products that you want to put on during the day, go for it. This one does not have it, but I'm a big fan of making a high quality product, and I didn't have the time nor the focus to make an SPF product at this time.
Okay, perfect. And then approximately, since you've had it a little longer, about how long can we say that one set of the products will last approximately?
Yeah, if you have 3 kids, 3 girls and a wife, it goes really fast.
You're individually.
It goes really fast. I personally think that the wash, you don't need very much of it, so you kind of get an idea. I would say that the wash is probably a 45-day to 60-day usage. I think the face cream is going to be more in that 30 to 45-day usage. I think the eye cream, because you only need about a half a pump of the eye cream for both eyes, I think that's going to last a couple months. So what it does is it comes down to, when you formulate the products, you always try to get them around the same, and it's really hard to do that. So the other thing that we did is, if you'll notice in your products, and I'll actually stop the sharing and open up my video for a second. If you look at what we did on these things, is here on the gutter, you can see it. I don't know if you can see it super well, but I actually did not want to color the plastic of the tube, so we used a label, and then we go on to show the gutter, because as an airless pump is concerned, it actually pushes up this platform and it evacuates the product. So now you actually know how much is left, so that you can actually reorder on time. So that's one of the things that it did change. So when you talk about usage, everyone's patterns are going to be a little bit different. If you're sharing product within the house, etc. But this allows you to notice that the platform started out at the bottom, and now it's up here. So in about a week or so, we should be reordering this. So that does help with the reorder opportunities as well.
Which I think is fantastic. I have so many products that don't have that, and there's nothing worse than going to put it on and then realizing you're completely out. So thank you so much for doing that.
Sure.
Do you want to open it up to see if there's any other quick questions? That's all that I really had on my end.
Sure. And then I'll share this one last thing while some folks are maybe unmuting themselves, is that we do have a document in the back office that actually has a whole bunch of one sheets to them. We call them one sheets. And so you can see here, this skincare, it talks about the 3 major ingredients that we have in there: the full spectrum oil, the natural astaxanthin, and the Kakadu Plum Fruit Extract. I used to call it Kakadu Plum, and then someone actually said it was actually Kakadu from Australia. So these are the kind of the triple antioxidants that are super, super high for your graceful aging skincare line. These are kind of the categories of products that we don't use: paraben, silicones, pegs, all those types of things. But if you go down in this particular document, you'll notice these key ingredients. Those are the key ingredients that we put together in the formula for the benefits. And you can even look them up on the internet, so forth, with linseed seed extract, marula seed oil. These are beautiful oils that are in there for under the eye. And you'll notice that in the 2 creams, you're going to have that trio, right? So that antioxidant trio is going to be in both of those products. So that's another reference point for you guys if you have any questions as well.
There is a question in the chat, Steve. What kind of best before dates do the products have, and how long will they stay fresh once opened?
Good question. We've been using these in my house for over 2 years around. So I think we don't have what's called full stability on them, because this is the first run. So we don't have real true stability from in package for that long. But we have been using these products super stable for, I would say, at least 2 years. There's nothing in there. There are preservatives in there, so there's nothing in there that's going to truly what's called spoil. You don't have to keep it in the fridge or anything like that. But I would say that you have about 2 years on that. I don't think you're going to last 2 years. I think you're going to use it up, but I think you'll have about 2 years on it.
Perfect.
Yeah, and that's because, like I said, we've been using it for a long time, and I haven't seen them separate Our formula hasn't seen them separate. This would be different if this was just a brand new product that we rush through, but because we've been using these products for a long time in my house as samples, we have plenty of data there. I just don't have them in the full size from this particular run.
Karen said, Steve, your skin looks amazing.
Oh, thanks. I use revitalizing.
You have a great line you've been using.
I love it.
Well, I just wanted to reiterate for anyone that's on the call or listens to this call later, I really, really recommend you getting the product for yourself. As Steve said, you know, one of the things, who can use this product, Steve? Is this geared towards any specific age group, men, women? What do you, I mean, obviously your whole family uses it. So that was that your basis for developing this line?
It was, yeah. I think the most obsessed person in my house is our 12-year-old daughter. She has interesting. She is one of our best sellers. She gets in the carpool with her folks, and a couple kids the other day said, "Your skin looks great, Kira." And she's like, "Well, I'm using my dad's product." And then the mom jumps in, and then now the kids are all using it. So, as far as where I've seen a 12-year-old love it, and I've seen a 78, and my dad is 82. So we've seen all ranges. My wife is funny. I've developed a lot of skincare in my career, like I said. Whenever one of us travels, we're always trying to find the sample. And so we always steal it from each other. And that's when I knew we had a good product. When my wife, who's got a lot of skincare background as well and has seen everything, she searches for it. And then you kind of get this, like, where's my product? So it does work for everybody. My 15-year-old uses it. She has a little bit of the teenage acne, and she's totally fine with it. So I think it really does parallel all across. And then it's a very light rose tint, which is interesting. Some people go, "Oh, I don't know about rose," but as they use it, it actually falls off quite nicely. And so far, we haven't had any of the men go, "Oh, I don't really like the scent." They've actually been, I like the scent. Even our athletes, the athletes that we have on our team, they're like, "This stuff is amazing." So we're getting really fantastic feedback from it. And I'm super excited. Like I said, I've been sitting on this for so long. It's great to have it out there.
Well, we're excited to have it out here too. And like I said, if you haven't ordered it yet, I highly, highly recommend that you do and try it and be able to talk the talk. And we are an authentic brand. So that's a big part of, you know, be able to have that organic conversation and knowing that, you know, people will still, I mean, like to this comment, I'm sure people are going to start commenting on everyone's skin that's using this. So super excited. Appreciate all the work that you put into bringing it out to us and allowing us to share it with people that we know. Sure. So you want to talk a little bit about our call to action again, Steve, and then we can end the call unless there's other questions.
Yeah, you know, we thinking about this, and we put it out there the other night on the Facebook group. And if those of you aren't on the Facebook group, let's have you get in there, because it's a lot of really good information. What we said is, if you're an ambassador and you sell 2 sets or 2 collections to friends and family, email us those 2 orders that you sold to your friends and family, and we'll send you a free collection as a thank you. So sell 2, get 1, and enjoy it. And you can use that free collection as samples for yourself, for somebody that actually may not have some money right now and needs the skincare and needs a little love. And the other thing too is, you know, Valentine's Day. We've seen, interestingly enough, in our neighborhood here that I live in, some of the gentlemen that I'm friends with, they're like, "Hey, can I buy this for my wife for Valentine's Day?" And I'm like, "Absolutely." So that's another wonderful thing too. But the call to action: sell 2 collections, email customer care at vitalibis.com with those two orders, and we'll send you out a free collection as a thank you. So. And
that goes till when, Steve?
We actually said next Friday, so the 9th, okay. Right? So happy to do it then and see how it goes.
Fantastic.
Awesome. Well,
thank you so much. I really appreciate this line and what it's going to do for my skin in the future and those around me.
Awesome. Well, appreciate everyone. We're going to jump now, but thank you so much, and continue to send in your questions, and always love a good testimonial too. So thanks so much. Oh, and also post things on social media. We'll share them on our story. We'll share them on our page, and we're a big fan of building this diverse community together. So tag us in it, and we'll post them out there as well and share it with the rest of the community. So, okay, thanks so much. Thanks, Jude, for helping out with that, and thank you for everybody spending their time tonight. Be well.
Be well. Thank you.
Bye-bye.